Hello.
Is that right? Hi.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you, everyone. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Good morning, Shwaba.
Hello.
It's so good to see you all here.
Yeah, very nice.
Look at those beautiful faces. Turn your cameras on if you can. So good to see you all. Are we good to go? I think it's Jody.
It is, and if we get Jessie to put the slides up, then we'll make a start, and then after a short presentation, we'll all speak together, hopefully.
Oh, can you not see those slides?
No.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
They came
Yes,
down.
there, Jessie. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. Thanks for the lovely messages in the chat.
How about now?
No.
Well, how come Sarah can see them?
I don't know.
Here's a mystery.
Can you raise your hands or let us know in the chat if you can see them? Oh, they're now down, Jessie,
okay,
but
wait a
people are saying
sec.
they could see them.
Oh,
They're gone now.
okay.
Coming.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Need to hold my tongue right.
All right, I'll make a start. Thank you for joining us for the early session, wherever you are. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we each live and work. For me, that's the Gubbi Gubbi and the Jinnaburra people of Mount Coolum on the Sunshine Coast, and I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nations people joining us today. I also recognise the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that you are joining from. Wherever you are in the world, we acknowledge the deep histories, the cultures and connections to country that continue to this day. Though we are meeting online, let us not forget that these conversations take place across many lands, each with their own custodians and stories. And may we come together with respect, openness, and a shared commitment to learning and collaboration. As I said, thank you for joining us. Today marks a defining moment for Homeward Bound. We're here to introduce and brief you on Tanzania Activation 2025, as we're calling it. The first global leadership summit and a bold new step in our collective journey of Homeward Bound. Tanzania is called Activation because it's activating the HB network built over the last decade, building on the strength of community and focusing on collaboration, feedback that we've had from you over the years. This will be more than a program. It'll be a strategic intervention, vastly different to our previous experiential components. We're responding to the growing urgency of our times around the world in different ways. We're all witnessing the rise of whether it be regressive politics, deepening inequality, environmental degradation, economic insecurity, and the weakening of international cooperation. Polarisation, disinformation, deepening social and political divisions, and even distrust in science. Experts and multilateral institutions are reducing their collective capacity to act on long-term challenges, forces that directly challenge the world which we have been envisaging in Homeward Bound, a world where men and women are at the leadership table in equal measure, shaping the decisions that affect all of us, collaborating, inclusive with a legacy mindset, and trusted with assets, both money and people. 10 years into this journey, we know our visibility alone is no longer enough. So we must act together with clarity, courage, and strategy. Tanzania 2025 will be action-focused, grounded with the wisdom of the African continent and globally ambitious. It will be the most collaborative, system-shifting activation we've ever undertaken. Both Fabian and Justine, our founders, two of our founders, are here this morning to talk you through the why now, the what will be, the detail in the program, how it'll be delivered, And then, of course, we'll talk about logistics, and Sarah Derry, our CEO, will work us through part of that as well. But mostly we're here to talk together and answer your questions and gain your input in terms of how we go forward. Thanks for showing up, not just to learn, but to lead. And so we will be as quick as we can in the dialogue and then get into exchange. So over to you, Fabian. I think I've covered the agenda on the next page for the most part, but that's what we'll take it through, and these slides will be available after the meeting.
Thanks, Jodie. Jessie, I'll get you to stop sharing the slides while I speak, and I just remind the team that I'm unable to join tonight, and you had wanted possibly to record what I would say. First of all, thanks, Jodie. I want to see you all, and I'd rather you were on gallery view with each other. So if you've got the option to put gallery view on your computers, please do so. You know that I dreamt of Homeward Bound in October of 2015, and what we've become today is the vast and significant evolution of that dream. And that dream was born of a lifetime of obsessing over the narrative of leadership in our world. And it's not that we don't have the solutions to the challenges we're facing. We absolutely do, and many of you are specialists in that. The problem is that at each moment, each pivotal moment where we could make the right decision, somewhere, somehow, self-interested, politically motivated decision-making disrupts what could be done on behalf of future. I'm very conscious, thanks to Laurie Campbell on Busara, of the notion of seven-generation thinking, that as a leader, my job is to think long range. That's always been my predisposition, but to know that there have been a people on our planet for whom that mindset was incumbent is critically important. And it grieves me day by day by day that we as women don't realise how much we are at risk of being sidelined. And I say women because if women were leading, then diversity would not be our issue. Non-binary people would be welcome. We would be taking action for disadvantaged people all over our world because that is women's natural predisposition. We would not put acquisition, personal power and acquisition ahead of collective health and well-being. It is not in our nature. You know, there's been decades of research on you and your ability. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt of the 19 well-researched leadership capabilities, you statistically significantly excel at 17, but you're not being selected. We know from your aggregated LSIs that you're haunted by, and we know it, often a doubt about who you are and your voice and your influence. We know it. We have the conversations with you. We know that lives with you. It lives with us. But that doubt's not your doubt. That doubt is a systemic doubt born of hundreds of years of implied prejudice towards our capability. I've never wanted to be with you more. I have never wanted Homeward Bound to be visible and impactful and generous and kind and thoughtful and brilliant as I personally want it now. And everything we are trying to do with and for you is to create a space where we can come forward and genuinely have global impact. So Tanzania is going to be very different, and we're going to do everything in our power to get you there. And if you haven't put your name for, how many of you have not put your name forward for Tanzania yet? How many of you have put your names forward for Tanzania? So for all of those who've put their name forward for Tanzania, your job is to find two other people who are standing there in the breeze, swinging and unsure, and find them and inspire them. For those of you who are uncertain, to have so many people here this morning who are going, hear why they've decided to go. We are working very hard on a very inspiring different order of collaboration to help you in Tanzania. We are struggling with not calling it a faculty. We want them to be experienced global leaders, people who've led change in small and large ways at grassroots levels. We want people who represent diverse perspectives on our world and particularly on how to lead in this time. It's never been more important to challenge people who have money and power. And I would remind people, as an activist, a leadership activist, that no one ever gives up power because we say it's not fair. No one ever gives up power because you put the facts in front of them of how important it is to give up power. They give up power because the weight of action demands an alternative. That's it. That's what changes the narrative. And we, of course, are coming off the back of an election in the Southern Hemisphere where I think most of us have gone, thank God. But what you might not know, for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, is how much international audiences were watching and hoping that Australia would be an example to the rest of the world, as well as Canada, as well as what Germany's doing with potentially outlawing the Nazi Party for all the right reasons. So it's a complex time, and you are the audience that also know, while we have this insanity around the practice of leadership, our planet is in trouble. So your voice, your thoughts, your approach are desperately needed. And I look at the faces online today, and I don't see a single person who I wouldn't be grateful to travel with and think with in this space. In terms of what we will do there, so the idea is every day, of course, we're going to be immersed in the home of our species, where we started. And of course, we're going to have the abundant opportunity to be inspired by this, in many ways, last vestige of the planet as it was. And of course, it is our intention to expose people to the incredible things that are being done in Africa to protect what they have. Of course, we want to expose you to communities there working hard from the bottom up to make change, because fundamentally that's where change happens. If you don't have access to an insane amount of money, then we have to do this together from the bottom up. But what we plan to do every day, we'll have somebody delivering a component for a very short period of time. And most of the time we're together, the global experts will be rotating in groups of Homeward Bounders to specifically help you on things you bring to the table that you want done. There are people I can see who I love and know do amazing things in our world already. So what would happen if we just poured in more to help you? We're also giving great consideration to bring people who can help change the global narrative. We live in a time where bad news is overwhelming us, and it's on a 10-to-1 ratio. There are 10, 20, 30 pieces of bad news, and if we're lucky and intentional, we find one good piece of news. Your brain needs the reverse. We need the reverse. We do, as Christiana so wisely advises, hold hope and fury in each of our hands, but your hope has to be 10 times the weight of your fury, 10 times the weight of your fear. And if we don't do that, then in reality, you pull back to your family, to your friends, to your job, to what you know, and it will be hard to inspire you to take those big steps. So Tanzania is designed to help make that change. There will be days when we look at the elements of activation. We will absolutely revisit and talk to how strategies developed, but importantly, because so many people don't understand, good strategies fail for lack of activation. We're going to show you what activation looks like. Then you're working on whatever idea you brought or whatever idea has come to the program that you want to be part of, or that you think is going to be a great vehicle for you to experiment with. We want to talk to you about designing initiatives for change, but the talk will be short and the dialogue and activation of that will be long. We want to talk about the incredible importance of motivating supporters. I had the dream in the beginning. There's no question about that. I wrote the first paper of Homeward Bound. I financially underwrote Homeward Bound for its first few years. Our business, Datner Group, underwrote Homeward Bound. We were the crucible in which Homeward Bound sat. But if Justine, Emma, and in the beginning, Jess Melbourne Thomas had not been the first followers, it would not have happened. And that's why they're called co-founders. Because in any initiative you want in our world, no matter what's dreaming in your head, people don't follow the initiator. They follow the first followers. And we want you to know how to do that, how to get your first followers, no matter what you aspire to. We want you to know how to influence and persuade people if you've already got motivation and impact. We want you to have experts there talking about influencing big names and up, and how not to let your LSI 1 get in the way of being courageous. We absolutely want you to know what execution and delivery look like, and why you have to measure that, and why we at this time in our history have to be brave, very brave about mistakes. Mistakes will happen. I'm probably your shining example of that, but you don't give up. And I promise you, if Just, Emma, and the team, Deb O'Connell, that team that did Homeward Bound 1, did what we wanted to do, which is run to the hills and not look back on Homeward Bound, then it wouldn't be where it is today. But we kept going, and we institutionalized your feedback. So we want to show you why we think that is so critically important. We want you to know how to get third-party support, why social media and media matter when you've got your ducks in the row, not before, and why the media can be your friend, not your enemy. We want you to know that you've got to stay the course. And one of the best ways women stay the course is together. And what I know to be deeply true is that we are most powerful with a common cause, a common purpose, shared values, and acting together. And we have to fight for that, because that is not the world we are in. We are in a world that's frightening people, where money and power are dominating. And yet good stuff is everywhere. So finally, we want you to absolutely know how to navigate conflict and set up counter mobilization wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And remember, these pieces of content will be short and the activation with you will be long. So we hope that you walk out feeling deeply supported, genuinely connected to the network, and of course, as is always our dream, that you feel loved, seen, and recognised. Just.
Thank you, Fabian, to Justine.
Thanks. Thank you, Jessie, for the slides. Hi, everyone. It's really great to see you all. It's always exciting to step into a Homeward Bound call. For the people who don't know everyone on the screen, if you have the chance, just type the country you're currently in and the cohort you're from in the chat, so we can have that rolling while I talk. So thank you, Fabi. And if you're on your phone, that's okay. You don't have to do that, but just so that we can see across the group who's coming from where and what cohort you've been in. So thank you very much, Fabi. That was a fantastic introduction to what we're visioning for Tanzania. One of the things we've had people asking us is, why would I do this now? I've done a Homeward Bound voyage. Why would I come and do something else that's Homeward Bound? So I guess what Fabi's explaining is really around, it's something different. We're calling it, it's a summit of people coming together. It's not a program where we're delivering content. And the real difference around Tanzania, as Fabi said, is it's about you, and it's about you as a network connecting with each other. It's the approach we're going to take in Tanzania is for it to be immersive and grounded. So these short introductions by speakers who'll be there, facilitators giving content, but then it's very much there's going to be space and time in the day for people to talk and come together. Equity and collaboration are first and foremost in the design of the project, and so that will very much be embedded in what Tanzania is about, and collaboration, how you want to collaborate together. Thinking about listening to what Fabi just said, some people might be sitting there saying, oh, I still don't know what it is that I would bring to a collaboration. I'm not sure what I would do. But come along and be curious and join and support other people. Be that first follower for someone else. And you'll be amazed at what things can actually be achieved. We're focusing on having real tools for you to be able to enact real change. You're all highly effective and successful in what you're doing, but there's something else that people are trying to achieve. And we're going to give you tools through the design of this project to actually be able to implement change. The focus of Tanzania is that whilst we're in Africa, it's very much a global perspective. And so we're looking at having leaders and speakers from around the country, yourselves included, having a conversation about leadership through different cultural lenses and what that means and how that works. But then also having some local relevance by connecting with people in Tanzania, people in Africa, Southern Africa, around connection to place. What does it mean to be there from their perspective? And we'll get them to share with us what that looks like. Ultimately, what we're hoping this experience looks like for you will be connection with purpose. And we all know that collaboration doesn't work without a clear purpose. So we're hoping to create an opportunity for people to come together, reconnect with the network. We've got over 700, up to 800 people now from Homeward Bound Network. And we'd like to create an opportunity for people to reach out and collaborate, to learn and to share across cohorts. It's very exciting to see you all typing your country where you are right now and the cohort you're in. When we get to Tanzania, those cohorts won't be as important, but it's so that we have an understanding right now of who's on the call and what the history is of various people to understand. Some of you have been to Antarctica on a Homeward Bound project program. Some of you have never had a face-to-face experience with Homeward Bound. So I'll stop talking, but thank you very much for sharing where you are and where you're from. And we're going to have a question session at the end. Thank you. Oh, this is me still. So this slide, thanks Jessie, is around who we're actually going to have there. So what we're going to have, unlike those past programs where we have a faculty and we deliver lots of content, the people who are going to be guiding you, the leaders who will be there, we're going to have the people that will have facilitating the conversation. We have our Busara Circle, which is a group of senior women leaders. And so you picture of Dr. Masimbi Kanyora there. Some of you have travelled to Antarctica with Masimbi. I know I can see you on the call. Fabian, of course, and myself. And then we're going to have other global guests,
including
speakers.
Laurie. Laurie's online too.
Oh, great. Laurie Campbell, great. Laurie's going to be there too. Laurie, you could wave to everyone now and we might see you in the gallery view. I've got a weird view, so I can't see everyone, sorry. We're also going to connect with people who are, as I said, who are working in that space locally. What we're trying to do is find compelling, inspiring speakers that understand, who are aligned with the purpose of Homeward Bound. So that group will grow and we will keep you updated about that as we secure and confirm those people. Jessie, I think that's it from me.
Thanks, Justine. Thank you, Jodie. And thank you, Fabian. What I'd like to just share with you now, and we're going to get to questions very quickly, is do the details about where we're going, what the days will look like, a little bit about where we're staying, and a few details around the what's included and what's not included today. And so I'll take you through that this morning. And these are based on some of the questions we've already had. So great to see so many of you online today. So if we go to the next slide, where are we going? So you can see the days there. We have 15 days together in this incredible opportunity to connect and build the network and have these incredible conversations and the activation that you've heard about. So we arrive in Arusha and we'll have some days there to start, which will be the opportunity for the community to come together, the building of the norms to get to know each other and start those dialogues and conversations. From there, after spending 2 days in Arusha, we will head to Karatu for a number of days. So you can see there from the 23rd to the 27th of November. And this will be an opportunity to, again, we'll have time in community. We'll have an opportunity to go to Ngoro Crater and we will have those incredible experiences together in nature, in community, in the local environment. But equally, there will be dedicated time over those days for those leadership discussions and hearing from those incredible speakers as well. Once we've been in Karatu, we head out to the Serengeti from the 28th through to the 3rd of December. And you'll see that there's a purpose-built conference area in nature that's being built for us while we're there, so that we can actually have these conversations, come together. We'll have workshops that you will help design as well. And again, listen to those speakers and really think about what collaboration and what activation there will be beyond today. But this is where we're going and the journey. We will then head back to Arusha after the incredible experience in the Serengeti to do the wrap up, the coming together and thinking about where to from here. So very important just that you understand where we're going across those 15 days together. Thanks, Jessie. So what are the days going to look like? You've heard this already from Jody, Fabian and Justine, but obviously there will be the Homeward Bound leadership content. We'll be hearing from incredible speakers, facilitators. We'll also be very much dialogues and conversations. So it's about community, connection and collaboration. We will have the opportunity to have cultural immersion as well in where we are and those wildlife experiences. So the opportunity to reflect, and as with the experiences in Antarctica, really allowing that to be part of our learning journey as well, the experiences we're having together and the experiences of nature and the environment we are. So it'll be very deep discussions and leadership through different cultural lenses. So that's why we're excited to share with you who some of our first guests who will be speaking and facilitating are with you today. Just to give you an idea of where we're staying, these are some of the photos of the actual locations where we will be. There will be very spacious double rooms and queen triplets as well that you can see there. There'll be great locations with good facilities. So again, we know reflection and those conversations that you have together are so important. So there'll be ample opportunity in the places we are for you to do that. In all of the locations, you will have an opportunity to meet and connect with new people. So in each location, you will share with different people. So 4 real changes of roommates and opportunities to get to know people as well. And we would also just say to you that we're not in one hotel, but we'll be in hotels very close to each other. So again, but we will be coming together for meals. We'll be coming together for the leadership contents. We'll be coming together for those excursions. So it will be quite a different but unique experience for all of us together. In terms of the inclusion, there is all meals included, which are buffet meals. And obviously when we're out on excursion, there'll be boxed lunches. All on-ground transportation is included. And if you arrive and depart on the first and last day, that's included as well. The cultural and wildlife excursions and the opportunity to create that community, network build, and hear from incredible speakers and facilitators. Just to clarify, the exclusions will be sort of beverages and additional snacks that you might want. If there's any specific requirement to see a doctor and so on, spa and any pampering that you might want to experience, and any extra activities that you might choose as well. Thanks, Jessie. So we will put this up at the end, but we're going to go to questions. I'm sure you've got lots of questions for Jody, Justine and Fabian, but there is a little QR code there we will put back up, which has a whole section on frequently asked questions, and we'd love to hear from you now. So please either raise your hand and let us know that you have a question for the group, or if you put them in the group chat, we can pose them to your panel that are here. So
I would just add, Sarah, as one of the designers for Tanzania, we're doing everything in our power to shift from speakers and facilitators to the concept of enablers. And the people we're approaching have reputation, influence, and have done it, not just learnt about it. And we think that is a fundamental shift here and urgently needed for us all. So they're people who've done it and done it with others and done it in many instances ground up, and have also become influencers in global at a global level. So that's a very big part of the emerging design here, which will be designed with that team of people once they come together.
For anyone that has questions, you can feel free to pop them in the chat, or you can raise your hand. And Jessie, given the various ways we're viewing the gallery, it would be great if you could let us know if someone's got their hand up.
One of the things that's already emerged, Just, is the issue of affording to do it. And, you know, it drives me insane that money is everywhere. It's just in the hands of a few people. And we will do what we can to help you think outside the box. Don't rule yourself out because you personally don't have the money. We don't either. We haven't either. But we've been clever and persistent about elevating you, and people want to support you. So we will happily, Jodie, Just, Sarah, and myself will help to elevate your skill in this area. And there are lots of great HBers who've done amazing things to raise funds who we will bring in to help.
There's a question about airfare. Everyone's coming from different locations, so no, the airfare is not included. If you look at all the different countries, that would be very hard for us to organise. So the model is you get yourself there, and then from then on, everything is covered in terms of transport.
We also know you can definitely get there cheaper than we can get you there.
Someone has asked, how many participants are you trying to include? We'll be inviting, our aim is to have around 120. We've invited all the alumni to come. So that's the model we're working to. And
Coaches.
So we'll open it up to our broader community as well, if we have to.
We'll open it up because we also want that broader community in the dialogue, and under discussion at the moment is also the opportunity to bring in people who can help us rewrite the message. So
Nicole Fetchett. Oh, sorry, Faith.
It's all right.
Nicole Fetchett, hello, you've got a question.
Hey, team. Yeah, look, I got heaps of questions.
Always. We expect
Yeah, always. I will always ask the questions, but a couple of things that come up for me. One is, what is the difference? Like, and I guess this is I'm a bit disconnected, having been on HB2, so I haven't been fully engaged with the current format. But what's the difference? Or is there still is this like there's two experiences happening, or is it all shifting into this new model for everyone, and this will be the in-person offering for all cohorts moving forward?
Yeah, what you just said at the end, Nicole. So it's going to be different, very different from the model that you have of what that in-person experience is. It's going to be a huge collective of all people coming together, and the program will be very different. So we'll have what Fabi just described, which is quite different to what your experience was, where you were given content. We focused on your LSIs. We talked about you as the self, leading for the self. This is very much going bigger, more about the collective, more about collaboration. So building on what Fabi said, a very different model to what you experienced on HB2, and with a much more, a group of people coming from different experiences.
Nicole, it's also, we're going to create a lot of space for everyone who's there to co-design it there. So, and it's not, an emergent practice, it's an activation practice. So we're looking at how do we as leaders create the change we want to see. And so the people we have that we're approaching to come and join us are people, for instance, who have written about globally and are known for what got us here won't get us to where we want to go, who've lived and enabled emergent practice in remote communities where no money exists, and have created national or global movements as a result, people who've come from villages and ended up on the UN, people who actually know how to make this change, and that will be what seeds each day. Laurie, I'm not sure if you'd like to add something, knowing that you're one of the people we're hoping will be joining us. Is there anything you'd like to say about why you think it's so important?
I wasn't thinking I was going to be asked to speak, but I think it's just a phenomenal opportunity for us all to get together and to learn from one another. And I'm just really excited about it. I'm just Googling how to get to Arusha.
Good.
From Regina, Saskatchewan.
So we will be working with people like Laurie to understand how traditional communities in her community, the Cree principle of getting collaboration. We will be talking to Musimbi about the collaboration that she grew up with as a child in Kenya. And we will be talking to Cecile and Jabet about what she's done in Cameroon. And all of us will be saying, how can I use that? How can I use that? Because what Musimbi, Christiana, and I realised when we looked at what was emerging is that for all our differences, the best of women is the same globally. And what does that look like? Nicole?
Yeah, thanks, Gru. Because I think it's something that, like, because of the short turnaround time, like the money does come into it, but also then if we're going to employers and we have the opportunity to potentially get something, what is the ask, or what is the value add, and how do we shape or craft that narrative for everyone? And the second question I'm going to throw in there, I can see there's some good comments through the chat, but is how, like, we talk about going into community and working with the local communities, et cetera, or being present in those communities. And I guess the red flag for me becomes the ecotourism of bringing 120 women from around the world. So I guess, what does that look like, and what are our thoughts from HB in relation to that?
So we're not going into villages and helping out, Nicole.
No.
That's not everything you said has obviously been at the forefront of our mind.
Mm.
Sarah, our travel providers, do you want to describe how they frame it?
Oh, we specifically partnered with Intrepid, who are a B Corp certified provider, and they're very cognizant of the lands that they operate on, and sustainability is at the forefront of their mind. Actually, their global head of sustainability will actually be joining us. Is actually a participant in HB10, so it's very exciting to have that sort of thought and consideration in terms of not only a partner but as a participant as well. So the way they think about it is, how do we make the smallest footprint, the smallest impact, whatever they do, and they do this in many countries around the world. So we're definitely relying on their experience and expertise, and you'll see that the vehicles we have are quite small. We try to, the hotels we're in will be as environmentally sustainable as they possibly can be. Everything from food waste and so on is a consideration in their own practice. So it's not, and as Justine said, we won't be going into communities and doing activations there, but we will be having the opportunity to see and experience, those opportunities through the natural experiences, or if you're in a village, or if we're in Karatu, for example, there's a local community that you, in your free time, can sort of wander through and so on and contribute, perhaps from a commercial perspective into those communities, should you wish to. But it's a very, very light touch, and that's their approach.
And to your point, Nicole, obviously we have the same concerns initially, and so in our engagement with our travel provider, we explain to them what Homeward Bound's about, what our values are, what's in and what's out for us. And so Sarah's done a lot of work to make sure that they understand the brief of what we need and what's important to us and who we are.
So we're meeting with them on a weekly basis at the moment, Jessie, who's online, just to work through all of the details around those sorts of things. But not only that, they'll be working closely with people like Fabian, Justine, and other members to make sure that the content and the leadership fits equally well with the journey that we're on for the 15 days. I also just want to note there are a few questions in the chat, and I know Jessie's already answered one of those. One was around arrival and departure at the airports. So Intrepid is offering transfers from Kilimanjaro as well as Arusha on that first and that last day. There's also a question around the content. Is there content on day 1 and day 15? Yes. So we recommend you arrive, before lunchtime or around no later than sort of lunchtime on that first day, if that's possible. There will be welcome that evening, the networking, getting to know each other. And then on the last day, as has happened, and I had the opportunity to be in Antarctica this year, on the last day, we come together for really revisiting everything that we've shared over our 15 days together, hearing from participants, hearing from some of the speakers, and really wrapping it up and sort of planning for the what's next. So there is content on that first day and the second day. The first day is largely late afternoon and early evening sort of get together. And that's how the last day will run. And I know someone has some specific questions around departure and arrival. They may be in the FAQ if you want to have a look at that. But if not, please just email us directly at Homeward Bound and the team can respond to any specific questions. If you have any specific arrival and departure questions. And Fabian, I think you've responded in the chat to one of the other questions there around, managing personal interactions. And I can assure you that our safety of all of our participants, our speakers and facilitators, but also equally our partners in Intrepid or equally, everyone is very focused always. And as we have been in the ship over the many years, very focused on safety and managing that. So there will be representatives there from Homeward Bound as well to also make sure that we have that right support. We have wellbeing practitioners who join. So there's a great wraparound service that you'll experience as well. Just checking in on some of those other questions. And the question around the cost, that includes everything once you're in Tanzania. So not to and from Tanzania. Love to see if there's any other questions. If you want to raise your hand, I could put it to Fabian, Jody, Justine. I don't think there's any more. I don't think I've missed anything. Jessie, if you can.
There's Lauren.
I have one. I'm just wondering, this all sounds great. I'm new to this. I'm HB10, so I haven't done any of this before. Are there cultural and nature experiences on most days? Like, is the typical day the same every day, or do we mix it up?
It's mixed up, but every day there is content covered and there'll be some experiences as well as free time, Lauren. So one of the things that we've had feedback on the last few years is so important that people have individual time to reflect, but also opportunities to come together in small groups. So some days there will be longer elements of content, and on other days you might say if we go out on the Serengeti, that will take obviously quite a number of hours to do that. So you might have a shorter day of content, but every day there'll be great content, great speakers, and opportunity to experience where you are. So, yeah.
I'm going to, if I can,
go for it.
Just underscore that when we talk content and speakers, the risk is you start to build an image of what we will be doing. So Sarah herself has to practice getting that out of our language, because that's not what we want to do in the design. This is an activation process. So the approach is, we hope conversations are happening continuously for the time you're together. The idea is you finish this, Lauren, with a global network at your back. Being immersed in the environment is a crucial part of this experience, because it's the inspiration to own what we urgently all know we need to do. And we want you to feel held by this collective. We want you to feel inspired by the people who are coming. And we are shifting away from the notion of speakers and facilitators. These are people who have the lived experience, so you won't be talked at. It's very interesting. We Africa, which is a sister initiative of Homeward Bound, and undergoing some fairly horrible challenges at the moment, and we really send them oceans of love and support for what they're dealing with. But I just want to highlight the fact that We Africa is a really successful African initiative to elevate the visibility of people who care about the environment, and they're all women. And they have had 90 women participate in their program, some 90 women and more coming. And their council is what is called an accountability council. It has no structural leadership. Nobody has a more important role than somebody else. 5 people sit on that, and they talk in circles. And so much of what we will experiment with all of you is to give you the space to not have a speaker and a response, but rather, how do we want to talk together? How do we want to be together? So at any point in time, while someone will share an experience and a knowledge, it will be then you talking about what's the relevance of that to me, to us, to this network. And they will join you in those spaces and help wherever possible. So that the people who are there as part of this guiding coalition will be in the audience and helping.
And
So
further to what Fabi said, Lauren, we are really aware of the importance of nature and immersion in Homeward Bound. That's a fundamental principle of these face-to-face experiences. So our aim is to optimise your opportunity to be in the landscape, to be in the wild.
we're organising a circle discussion with the local lion community, but that's not quite signed off yet. That's a joke, everybody. What do you think, everyone? Give us a feedback. What's your thoughts? Nicole, pop your mobile in the chat.
This is Karen from Australia. My thoughts are that I'm very excited. I have committed, paid a deposit to actually go, and was very excited to be given the opportunity as alumni. So I realized that this was a different approach without having had this information session, because the alumni were being invited to attend. And I think the opportunity for that reconnection is actually very important. And to me, I'm excited to have that opportunity to participate. So thank you, and thank you for the extra information, which I think makes me feel comfortable about the purpose, the intent, and what I can get out of it, but what I can also put into it, which has helped me to understand both of those things.
Karen is a fantastic example in Homeward Bound of collaboration and activation, and has been deeply supportive of different elements of what we're trying to do behind the scenes. And so she brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to every interaction she's going to have in Tanzania. And this is an example of people coming who their own knowledge is an amplifier of what we're going to try to do.
Nicole?
Look, I'll keep throwing questions. I've just done a quick Google of the We Africa, which looks really great, but I've also seen that Musimbi is part of that. So
Yeah.
am I getting, like, what I'm piecing together here is that we're kind of working, or as you say, sister is We Africa, but we're kind of embodying some of the practices and principles of We Africa and blending that with Homeward Bound in order to create this experience?
Not just We Africa. And we're holding back on discussing We Africa at the moment. They've had some of you may have seen in the news, a horrible attack on one of their main centres.
One of their staff has.
Yeah.
One of their founders.
One of the staff has, and the founder. And so we're just reaching out with love and support for what they're dealing with at the moment, which is if you know one of the founders, they don't refer to themselves as founders, but one of the founders, Colleen Begg, has had to deal with that most of her life in the work that she does, because there's a very big anti-movement against what she stands for and what she's trying to protect. But it won't just be Africa. It'll be, Busara represents a very broad and culturally diverse group of women leaders from Kenya, Cameroon, traditional indigenous leaders in Australia, and we're trying to work out how to get as much of that into this as we can at the moment. Which is exciting. Is it exciting, Nicole?
Oh, it's absolutely exciting. And I think, I guess for me, it's a big investment. And as people have said, it's in a short amount of time, but it's just understanding how we got here and why we make the choices, or why that's something that we do want to prioritize.
Mm-hmm.
it's because it sounds great, and it's also that community piece, like we've talked about in a
Oh.
lot of the Homeward Bound chats that circulate in different forms.
I'll reach out to you directly, Nicole, because you and I are friends and have talked in lots of different contexts that give you more information directly.
Yeah, and I think all that's like, if there's more information, I think it's useful for everyone because we're trying to make these decisions. So
Yes.
thanks, baby.
As soon as we are able. Yep. Any other responses? Does it excite you? Jiaxin? What do you think? We're very that's the thing I didn't mention. We also think that as the Trump administration actively and extraordinarily decimate the picture of the US globally, China is rising up, and we are looking at ways to make a much bigger imprint on what China's role is as we go forward, with some people who bring a lot of expertise and knowledge about that. So we're conscious that China also has a very long view on the state of our planet, and is certainly stepping into the breach created by Trump's behaviour in lots of different ways.
And as a global network, we really love the fact that we are diverse in terms of nationalities and cultures in Homeward Bound. So it's been really exciting. The most recent face-to-face we had people from so many different countries, and the conversations we got to have at a global leadership context was really exciting. And it helped some people move and learn beyond what their current experience was in their country or their world or their institution. So we're really open to all cultures. And it's exciting to see how many of you are coming from different countries, actually. It's really, we know that will create a really exciting environment for learning and discussions. Someone might need to be muted. Jessie, I can't see the time.
It's at 7:56.
Just got a couple of minutes.
Great. Great.
And maybe then as I was the one who was responsible for winding us up. Just, why now? Celia, I'm conscious of something you've said about your concern about being scammed in Tanzania. This is a leadership initiative. If this stops you coming, I'll respect and love you for it, and it's a choice you have to make. We want you to come to this initiative in November, resourced as a leader, to take your place at an international table, and that means dealing with some very hard things. And I hate that so much global scamming comes out of countries that are very poor, but it's a response to need driven by greedy people. So that's our job, is to face into that and to be wise about the leader we are when we come to Tanzania. We do not want, and we'll do a great deal to eliminate some of the dramas we've dealt with historically in Homeward Bound. We want the people participating to come as leaders, and leaders deal with difficult situations in a volatile, uncertain world. We have to know how to find our centre, how to be constructive, and how to deal with problems together. So this will be a true collaboration. And why you, why now? I'd rather turn it on its head and say, if not us, who? If not this, what? If not now, for God's sake, when? It could not be more urgent that we come together. And Homeward Bound is a very rare gem that only has one focus, and it's leadership, the practice of leadership. So come hell or high water, I know for myself, I'll do everything I can in my power to get myself there. And for me, it definitely means, I have to take my leave to be part of this experience with you all and help make it happen. Jody, Justine, myself, the board are pouring energy into how to make this happen for you, and time. It's time. It's just time, guys. It's just time. And if it's not making sense after today, that's okay. That's okay. But dear God, we hope it makes sense for a lot of you. And yes, Ingrid, that includes you. I wish. All right. Jodie, Just, is there any final word you want to say?
No, just thanks everyone for joining, and it's super wonderful to see all your faces. If you have questions, please email us. Please look at the FAQs because it answers some of the questions. But please keep the dialogue going. And our main way of communicating is primarily email. We know that for quite a few people, emails get lost, but look out for the Homeward Bound emails.
Yeah, thanks all, and continue to engage and ask the questions. We'll answer them as best we can, and we hope to see as many of you as possible in Tanzania.